Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today we are kind of running a little bit on the late end, but we're just kind of having to muscle through, I guess. So all we have is an option. It's not really looking good, but it's not like it's going to be the latest I've ever been. I think that's for sure. So I did get to tweak the settings yesterday that I wanted to. So we'll see how good things are sounding. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to be sounding still. They could actually be worse for all I know. It kind of seems that way even now, like maybe I went a little bit too gentle on the... Yeah, I'm getting a little bit concerned because it just looks like it's picking up a bunch of stuff now, whereas before it actually wasn't. Before my microphone, it was like it would be dead silent when I wasn't talking, and now it's not anymore. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. We may have to do some tweaks, further tweaks. So it actually could be sounding worse than before, but at least hopefully the choppiness has died down a little bit. I have a feeling I either didn't make the noise gate strong enough or I made the compressor too strong, because at first I was doing a gentle compression because I knew that in a car you can't have as strong of a compressor because of the nature of the noise environment you're in. But now I don't really have too much of a choice, I do have a choice. I guess that's not what I mean to say. I wanted to see how much compression I could get away with. And I definitely made the noise gate a little more chill, so it should be better. Although, again, I'm still unsure about whether what I'm doing is really what I should be doing or not. I mean, time's really going to tell. I'll listen to it when I get to work, probably, but from what I'm seeing, I'm a little bit disappointed. Again, maybe I won't be disappointed, but from what this recording app shows from the audio, it's not really looking how I'd like it to look. Like I said, I think I didn't make the noise gate as strict as it could be. And in addition to that, I don't have any other... I mean, I just didn't make might have made the compressor a little bit too strong, and then the noise gate less than it should be. It all remains to be seen, I guess. I'm not entirely sure, but we should be able to get better settings out of the thing now, at least. I don't know. I think this recording, it may still not be optimized, but it's a safer recording than it's safer settings than before. The settings I have set, they're safer. They're a little bit safer. It still seems like now we're letting a lot more background noise in, which I'm not super thrilled about. So that will probably be the next order of business, is restrictification of the noise gate, as well as maybe a mellowing out of the compressor. I was just really interested in seeing how far I could go with the compressor, but again, I'm seeing a lot of very strange noises that I wasn't seeing before, so I'm not Not really sure how I feel about that. There's a lot of just, because before it would be dead silent when I stopped talking. And that was kind of better. It was mostly the cutting in and out that was the problem. So, I mean, maybe that comes with the territory. Maybe in order to avoid the cutting in and out, you have to chill things out. But see, now that I'm seeing how this is going, the problem is, and I've said before, is it's a difficult thing to trial and error, because I'd have to change the settings and then go out and drive my car and then come back home and then change the settings again and then go back out. Like, it's just something that's going to take time, because I'm just not going to do that. To me, it wouldn't really be that fun. I'd just be thinking about how I'm driving my car for no reason, starting and stopping a bunch, getting gasoline. So for me, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take it slow. But the caveat to that, like I said, is like a lot of things they just don't work. It takes longer. I did actually see something. I guess in a way this is sort of like content stealing, because I saw a post talking about this concept, and now I'm just going to talk about it. But I didn't really read it, so in a way, it's like I'm kind of stealing the idea, because it's not really something I thought about before. But basically, when you think about the way life works nowadays, when from a young age we're shown a lot of movies and shows, and then in this case nowadays we're basically hyper-fed all kinds of entertaining situations that we see anybody post about online. So in the past, it used to be more of this, at least it was a fictional show, for example. But that's not even how it is anymore. Like, nowadays, you kind of see everything. The internet, the things that people have posted. And from a young age, it's likely that you're already going to kind of see everything. You're going to see experiences and different things that you see already. You've already seen it all before you've even done any of it. It's kind of like the way things are working now. Every experience, you don't just experience it. You have like a bunch of other suggestions before and after of other people doing the same thing. It's almost like, oh, like you're learning how to drive? Okay, you look up a video of someone showing you or something. That's a more productive example, but what about when it comes to fun things in life? What about when, you buy a new product and you look up an unboxing video first? And then when you get it, it's just inherently not going to be as special or as alive feeling. But the same goes with the car. I mean, I guarantee that, the exposure to media showing us these experiences, particularly the pleasureful ones of, even if in a movie you get really involved with the character and they graduate school, and then now you get a taste of that dopamine because you were invested in the movie. Something positive happens to the person in the movie. They win a game. You feel good about it. Then, the specific example I heard of is when you have movies like WALL-E, where, you watch it And then afterwards you feel good because at the end of the movie they're on a good direction when it comes to the environment and the plants and whatnot. But the problem is in the real world, the things are not matching up like that. That's not actually happening. That's the problem. It doesn't really line up with what we actually are dealing with, and yet people still feel good about it. People still feel good. You feel like you've really done something or accomplished something. You feel the same euphoria as if you had, but you haven't even done anything. You just went and watched a movie, and yet you feel good. And I remember this as a child more so. It's more of a profound effect where there's a desensitization to experience. It's a desensitization to what's in front of us. I think this kind of ties into my other theory about the alteration of how we interact. Because in the past, you always had these situations where a lot of these situations where you were only always interacting with a person face to face. It was likely a person you knew pretty well. There wasn't really any ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, it was just very straightforward. Nowadays, because we interact with so much other media, we listen to a lot of things on YouTube. Like I've said before, we usually listen to people who are better as people. They're more charismatic. They're more entertaining. They're potentially even more mature. In some cases, they're not, but you get used to that kind of a standard and basically interacting with that kind of person. Then it kind of feels like a chore to go back to, actually having to talk to your friend. And you have to wait. It's not instant. You don't just get an instant transmission. Now you have to wait. You have to wait for the person to be available. You have to, they might end up needing to cancel plans. And it just gets to be too hard. We gravitate more and more to the technology as a means of social stimulation. But this is changing the way our brain and our minds naturally interact with and socialize with people. It's changing it fundamentally. It's no longer that our automatic social tendency is a face-to-face interaction. It's a lot of texting. It's a lot of these things that are inherently less meaningful. You don't get to hear the person's tone. You don't really know what's going on. It's just becomes this huge mess. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, they just don't know. Like, they don't notice it. I think they just don't notice it. I'm curious. Well, the effects are obvious. It's desensitization. It's when you talk to a person, it just doesn't seem as meaningful. You know, when they crack a joke, it's not as funny. You laugh more at your social media feed than you do just in a regular conversation with a person. It leads to a numbingness because you've seen way crazier things done. It'll pop up on your feed, some kind of crazy situation that happened between two people. And then when you go through the same thing, if you do, it's almost, you're going to feel tired. You're not really going to feel like dealing with it. It kind of makes sense when you get into drama shows, shows where there's the entertainment is the drama and the relationship dynamics. I would have a hunch that people who consume that kind of content, and not everybody, of course, because we're talking in generalities. I'm sure if somebody's mindful and they watch some junk entertainment content from time to time, I don't really think it's going to matter that much because, at the end of the day, some people can be, pretty strong-willed or like have their own opinions about certain things. So it doesn't really always matter. But I would say that ultimately people understate. I think they understate that kind of saying, like, you are what you do. I think a lot of people, they try to understate that a little bit too much. I mean, obviously, it's not like you listen to music, for example, that is some type of way, and then you just, like, become exactly like that music. No, like, that's not what I'm saying. It's not that dramatic, I guess. But it's not like your music doesn't affect who you are or how you are. Because I don't think that's true either. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people, I think it's true that I tend to overcorrelate, but I think the more accurate truth is that a majority of humans actually undercorrelate. So they think like, oh, well, I can just do this and there's not going to be any consequence for it. And they actually undercorrelate their actions, especially when it comes to, the long term. So I think overcorrelation, it leads to its problems, but I think it's overall a more important skill to have because it fails sometimes, but then when it doesn't fail, it's actually really useful. Whereas undercorrelation, if it fails, it's not like it can be really bad. And then if it doesn't fail, I guess you get stuck, but yeah, like if you undercorrelate, you end up being stuck in potentially silly situations. At least I think that's what happens. It's basically just that general rule. Like, you're better to be overprepared than underprepared. A person who's underprepared, guess they have the advantage of saving a bunch of time, but it doesn't, it doesn't usually end up like, well, since everything's kind of perspective based anyway, you get used to certain standards. So if you're just used to doing things in an overcalculated way, it's not really like you're going to perceive. Well, I guess that could go both ways, because then if you're used to undercalculation, you're used to the pain that comes with that typically. Yeah, so I guess it's... the answer isn't super obvious. I think I guess it depends. I guess I can't. I'm trying to calculate, what is which one is better or worse, but I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. I guess you do want to have a balance of both, or actually you would just want to be able to deduct whether in a certain circumstance it requires more calculation than the other. So I guess in a way it still is black and white, because maybe that's like a better way to explain the whole like gray versus black and white argument is okay, the gray versus black and white, think about it. Just think about it. Everybody says that the world's gray, it's not black and white. I think that if you look at the world from a distance, it looks gray. If you're up in space and you're looking down at the Earth, you're not really going to see anything that's going on. And so as a result of that, things are going to look pretty gray. You're not going to be able to have too much input about the politics in America or the politics in Europe or the politics in the Middle East, because you're just looking at this blue and green orb. To you, it would make more sense to have a gray interpretation of things. But then when you're actually here and things are in front of you, a lot of times we can see that things at a precise level, once you bring precision and scope into the equation, once you zoom in, some things actually are pretty black and white. And that's kind of what I'm saying. I think within most circumstances, things are very black and white. It's just that they're not going to be black and white based on assumption. They're going to be black and white based on expertise. If you happen to be in a position where your strong suit is a certain thing, for example, then you're going to be able to see that there is a black and white meaning there. Yeah, I'm trying to think where I was getting at. My mind kept going off about different things. But what we do know, at least we're getting an idea. I don't know that I'm going to be home enough to adjust the mic settings. I may just not feel like doing it. But the next recording, it is what it is. It's just gonna be how it is. But hopefully when I get home tonight, but see, I don't know how early I'm going to be able to come home because of how things have been. It might not be until tomorrow night that I actually get to change my settings. It's a shame I have to be dealing with this, that it's going to be such a slow situation. But, what can you do? I don't know. I just can't. My life it's just too busy, and it's not worth it for me to be. Yeah, I just don't know. It's just not worth it. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I was just really pleased with how well it was cutting out the background noise before, and then now it's clearly not to the same degree. And it could be due to the compression. I could just have the compression too high. But I think it's also the strictness of the noise gate. I'm not really sure. I mean, we can have a more gentle curve, but I don't know how much we need. What we're seeing now, that's not necessarily necessary. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking about right now. A bunch of different things. Things that aren't really worth saying necessarily. I think that was something I still have been speaking in a very veiled way, and I'm kind of thinking more and more that it could be time to just lift the veil and just talk about everything. Because as much as the point of this show has been to finally make my public impact, I'm still not really over this whole privacy thing. Like, I still, when I'm in a conversation with a person, I'm just willing to say more things. Which, in a way, I mean, this obviously makes sense because it's not like, some things you want to keep a secret. But I'm wondering about really what I'm supposed to do, because it's really a pattern of putting myself out there versus not putting myself out there and not really making any progress and not really doing a lot of these things that I actually want to be doing. So, I really have to think about that. Really have to think about and consider what's going on. And if I should just rip the veil off, like, I just think it's getting to the point where it's limiting me. It's definitely just a limiting thing for me. I don't know. But yeah, it's not looking like, because again, when I'm not talking, it used to just be dead silent, and now it's definitely not. So I don't. Yeah, this is not good. Looks like things are pretty backed up. I should have got out sooner this morning. I just got out too late. So I'm probably going to have to stay later, and then it throws off my whole thing because I want to get home, if anything, earlier because of sleep and because of I'm going to try to do my microphone thing. And we would have been one step ahead if I had done it that morning, but I just didn't feel like it. Because I kind of woke up early enough one of those mornings, but I just didn't. So it's been annoying because I've been trying to get on this thing and it's just not. I'm just not getting there. And then now when it's, I don't know. But like I was saying, it's really, in a way, I have to start to think less numerical about things, because I think it's that numerical precision that causes me to get and to notice and be upset about things that other people wouldn't even really think about or bat an eye at. I guess I could have went the other way too. Like, I should really have my GPS out while I'm driving, because it would tell me whether the one way is going to be backed up or not. I mean, not that I don't know that would always work necessarily, but in this case, I feel like it would have, or it's possible. It's possible, at least. I don't know. Because it's just kind of silly I keep getting bogged down like this, but like I said, I really should just there's other thing. I like, at least I have the car ride switch law. Half of these people, actually more than half of these people, I don't even think they have that awareness anyway. I think a lot of people are just, they're thinking about going to work. They're angry, but they're angry just because of the fact that they have to wait for something. I don't really think they're caring about the cost on the car. For me, it's the cost on the car. That's, if I just had to wait and there was no wear on my car, then I don't think I would really care. It's the fact that I'm in a car. But regardless, it is a situation that, well, see, I think with humans, a lot of times it's channeling the anger into something. Maybe that's the problem. It's not that anger itself is necessarily a problem, to have a passion, to have an ignition, but it's, instead of channeling that, and I feel like it's an energy that you can channel into something instead of just channeling it as anger, and it expresses itself as anger. I have a feeling that you can actually use it, and that's a lot of times what instead of getting angry, you can use that fire to actually do something, to actually get something done. When you just rant about something or vent about something, you are venting and you're getting the anger out. But then I don't, like, it's almost like I'm saying I'm trying to block the vent. Like, I have to, and just like use that time to talk about systems and how we could make a better system for traffic and you know, my complaints about it. The time doesn't have to be used just me being upset or complaining. I mean, that could get old after a while, but it's still a better default cycle to be on than to just get upset, because that's really where most people fall. They just get upset. I've done it now too, because I feel like in a way I've kind of drifted away from life and what, you know, life is even about. You know, which in my opinion, as I have gotten older, it's really about seeing both sides and understanding evil, understanding good, understanding right and wrong, understanding good and bad. It's and in that true comprehension of either side, you can see that it's all kind of one and the same. But you can only reach this perspective from a certain vantage point. Because I have a feeling, and even when I say those words, for example, people living in poverty, you know, they might just not really get to that conclusion. You know, they just might not. I mean, it's kind of rough, and you need, in my opinion, a fair bit of free time to really get to that level of understanding. And at least as far as I can interpret that. That's kind of where, that's kind of how I think about it. I mean, I just think it's, but I don't know that it's a problem, my awareness of numbers and time. I don't think it really, if anything, you can't master the next dimension until you've mastered this one. And time is the controller of this dimension. So I think if a person can't even comprehend time or how to optimize within this reality, within this system, it's not likely that they would be able to comprehend the next level. As much as this system is hard, it's rough, we can tell that there are flaws in it. We can perceive that, and we think of a better system as one that is better. But what I'm saying is that I think it's more likely you'd have to be able to be good at this system in order to pass through to the next. You can't never figure out what we know is the material, what we know is the third dimension, and then expect, oh, well, I just want to get to the next place. I want to make it to heaven. There it will be better. I'm just not really sure that's how that's going to go down. I think we're probably here for a reason, to deal with certain things, to figure certain things out. And once we've successfully achieved that, which some of us never will, some of us do. I think most of us don't. But because you can it's pretty easy for a person to become a monk. I mean, being a monk, it's not easy. But I don't know that a monk... Actually, though, the thing is, a monk may... I don't know if it's always the case, but they may have kind of a better concept of some of these things than a regular person anyway. As weird as it is, I think oftentimes an average person can be more caught up in things. They can just be more caught up in the world. Whereas a monk, they might not be as familiar with as many concepts. But then when it comes down to it, they might be able to understand certain things better. I think that's interesting to think about. Because again, it's about comprehension. Like what I'm saying is I feel like most people see it as if you become a spiritual master, you're almost like ignoring or looking past this system, this duality. And I don't know that is necessarily the case. I think really if you were to be an ascended master, you'd have to be able to really understand things properly. Like I don't know that it's all about just like entirely ignoring duality and just being like, oh no, this is nothing to see here. I just don't think that that's really the case or how things should be working. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. But yeah, we've really, this week, it's not been a good week for arrival. You know, I think in general, it's been fine. But, you know, in terms of arrival to work, it hasn't been some of my brighter moments. And I wanted to be really early today, but I just didn't. I just wasn't. So yeah, you get 2 long car rides with Schlaz back to back, and I don't really know. Again, I don't know if my theory is correct, but I almost feel like in order to defeat duality, you have to master it. Like you can't, I don't see how, I think so many people like they just want to like exit it. And I did too. I saw it was incomplete. I saw there were so many problems with it. So I wanted to escape it. But I don't think somebody who becomes enlightened is really escaping it. I don't know that they're really escaping anything. You know, like that's just not. I don't think it's, you know, to me, it's not just about an exit. Whoa, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Somebody's kind of all up in my business. I don't know who parked here like this. What? I mean, luckily I can still get around them, but I don't really understand. It seems like they got here extra early. They didn't clear the snow off of their car. I've never seen them here this early before. Their whole back window is still completely frozen. I don't understand how people drive like that. I guess when I was first driving, I didn't really use the back mirror too much either, but it's like now I wonder if they even drove here or not, or if they just, maybe something was wrong with their car and they had to just leave it here. Yeah, I guess that could be because that seems weird to me. But it looks like as if most of it was cleared off. I'm going to get a better look at it, but I actually think that theory of mine isn't even a bad theory. That theory of mine that maybe their car, they just like left it here overnight or something. Anyways, it has been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So, see you schla.